Hey, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. I'm Dr. Ariel Hammond, and this is the Enrichment Entrepreneur, a podcast for current and aspiring entrepreneurs who are in the business of helping kids thrive. We're talking after school programs, summer camps, tutoring, enrichment, the people and places that show up for kids outside the classroom. I'm still building right alongside you, and that's exactly why we're here, to learn, grow, and figure this out together.
Let's go!
Welcome back. I'm your host, Ariel Hammond, and today we're talking about registration because registration is, you can't talk too much about it. It's the most important thing you do in any kids' activity enrichment business. For those of us who don't have storefronts physically, registration serves as our virtual storefront. So it's the first impression that customers get from our business. And we want to, think very intentionally about what's the perception that they're having, and does that work in our favor to convert the most customers as possible, or are there opportunities to improve? So I have some data about conversions and registration, especially for digital payments, that we can apply to our contacts so that for our upcoming programs, our registration process is working in our favor to seamlessly, easily increase our revenue. So I wanted to start with the reality of cart abandonment. So the average checkout abandonment rate is about 70%. It rises to 80% on mobile devices, translating into if 100 families click through your registration link, you may be losing about 70 to 80 of those families before they actually finish and check out. That is interesting. It's like, oh, that can be discouraging, but we have some things we can do to help us lift the number of families who make it from first going to our registration, first going to that cart experience, and then finalizing the transaction and feeling great about it. So another statistic I wanted to frame this conversation is that 40% of the cart abandonment is caused by surprise extra costs or fees, and 26% are forced account creation. So in our context, the biggest registration provider in our industry is Sawyer, and they force account creation. That results in statistically 26% of that cart abandonment. They have non-waivable, non-refundable per booking surcharges that they implemented as of 2024. And there is also other litigation that's active in our space for registration software that has surprise fees at the end. So making sure that you choose a registration platform or tool, or if you're making your own, that has the fees up front before someone clicks all the way through and they do your registration. And we know in the enrichment kids activity space, we have waivers, we have medical information that we need to collect. We need to know your kid's homeroom teacher. I mean, all of these different things. And then there may be a sibling, so that's even longer it takes. So there's a long time relative to, buying a product online. Doing this type of activity takes a long time to get from start to finish and checked out through that transaction. If we can make sure we're being upfront with all-in costs, then let's do that. If there are processing fees, don't wait until the very end for that processing fee to show up. And whatever tool you're using, if you're using a third-party tool, make sure that that doesn't just appear at the end, that when a family is considering enrolling in your program, that they know all in what that cost is going to be up front. Even include sales tax if you are in a state that collects that as well, so that there isn't that surprise at the end. And you don't want that resentment or people feeling duped anyway. So that's an easy thing to look for. Go through the registration process as a family if we're using a third-party tool and see where the fees, where they come into play and how and if they're not with the tool you're using, then that's an easy switch in time for the new school year. Also look into forced account creation. Although creating an account is beneficial if you know that that is a platform or service you're going to use over and over again. If you don't know that, and you may just go there once every few years or just once, you don't want to have to create an account. My information is too many places from too many accounts that I was forced to create, and it does cause early resentment. We want to give people that option, but we don't want that to be compulsory, um, because that creates that resentment. And if people aren't sure of your process yet, of your business, of your services, of the platform or the transactions, they may not trust the security in your data storage. So we want to prove ourselves first, and same goes for the registration tools that we use before we enough to make someone create a profile. So that's another thing to look for. And if you can select a registration tool that does not force account creation and does not hide registration process, then already you are in good shape in combating 48% of cart abandonment issues. So that's a huge revenue lift just there.
If you're paying a monthly fee to take registrations or you're losing a cut to a marketplace, then NREPS was built to end that. NREPS is free for businesses, it's free to use, no subscription, no monthly fee, and no marketplace cut. You go from landing page to live in under 5 minutes. For the family signing up, it's even faster than that. No account, no app, a link, a tap, and they are done. There's nothing to migrate, there's nothing to lose. Go to nrops.com, build your first registration, and see it live today.
Moving on, I wanted to go into Apple Pay and digital wallets. I was a little late to using digital wallets. With it, but others have not been. So enabling Apple Pay and digital wallet integration lifts conversion 22% as of Stripe's own research. So this is a very concrete, low effort, low lift fix that operators can act on immediately, making sure that going through your registration process, with integration to be added to the registration process. And it's not very hard to win at registration in the kids enrichment, kids activity space, because registration is notoriously clunky, low tech, late to tech, paper waivers, redundancies, glitchy, outdated user interface experience. Parents are used to this. It doesn't mean that they're satisfied with it. It means that their expectations are low, and their frustration is already a bit high in anticipation of what glitch they're going to encounter when they register for your program. Date was input wrong, or things like that. So they expect hiccups. And this means that there are opportunities to shine in this area if we can select the right tool that can over deliver in a very saturated registration landscape that is really lackluster. And when we choose our registration software, we want to make sure that and reliability is a featureship with our families, versus it's just another invisible process. It's very visible. It represents the experience that families can expect to have and that they can expect their children to have with their business. So really taking a step back, even if you have registration already set and you've been using it the same way for 10 to 15 years, like think about what is communicated through your registration. If your registration is a Frankenstein hodgepodge of tools that you put together that are inefficient, low tech, that look like a. You may feel great about that because it saves you money, but what does it cost you in branding and customer perception? And that is something very real to consider. So sometimes we can step over dollars to pick up pennies. And registration is one of those areas that I've seen with a lot of us in this space. Along with that, looking at how quickly families can get through registration when they're using our current tool. The longer it takes to get through registration, the larger the drop off. So do you know how long it takes to get through registration? Does it take 5 minutes as a first time user? Does it take 5 minutes? Does it take 10? Does it take 15 minutes? Where do people get stuck? That's something you should know. And for all of our businesses, how long currently does it take for a new customer to get through registration? That's one key metric to know. And then the second one would be for a returning customer, how quickly can you get through registration? And so we want to pay attention to both of those metrics. We want to make it easy for customers to come back. If it takes them just as long as a returning customer, the easiest lift to make is going to be making the experience for returning customers, making that easier and faster, because if we could just save the data that we already have, maybe there's an option for them to create a profile. Then we can easily increase the number of families that return for re-enrollment over time. And in this industry, the emerging standard, families expect 5 minutes or more to register for a program. For registration, we aim for sub 90 seconds, and that is the emerging standard. So that's what we do, and we have instant confirmation. So for NROPS, we're sub 90 seconds. That's 3-4 times faster than industry norm. We show all-in prices up front. That's not the industry norm, but that's what we do. Guest checkout, optional creation of profiles, mobile first, instant confirmation with a full schedule. So that helps with just the sheer number of emails. I don't know if other people get it, but my business gets it when school is out. Even though we don't have the program scheduled for that day, parents still double, triple check, especially if there are conflicts on the schedule. Maybe you're showing you do have a program at the school. So as part of our registration experience, just so there isn't that confusion up front with, NROPS registration has an instant confirmation with the full schedule and ability for them to add it to their calendar. About half of people in this space, 48%, in a recent parent registration snafu in Chicago, didn't get receipts when registering for a kid's activity. So we want to make sure that at the very least, all of our customers get electronic receipts. So that's also worth running through, making sure that that is instant and that it's accurate, that it doesn't go to spam, that they have a contact that they can reach out to if they have questions about billing, all of that kind of stuff. There's also something else I wanted to go into around the area of payment plans. So payment plans are emerging as an offer that consumers just expect pretty much in everything now. In my own business, we started offering payment plans last school year, and we found about a third of customers take us up on the payment plan. Up front, it might seem like it creates a logistical headache or nightmare, but not really once you get into the flow once. What I found the first term that we offered a payment plan is that there were about maybe 3 to 4 families that started the next term, so did have to reach out to those families. I think the card that they had on file, like it didn't go through. So that number, 3 or 4 out of over 100, isn't that bad for the first term, but it did create something where we then had to follow up. And sometimes then the program started and we still hadn't collected the payment. So there was some operational stuff that we had to figure out there. But I think of that high take rate, first time offering it, a third of customers selecting it. It makes me wonder how many may have been, um, how many families the program would have been cost prohibitive to had we not had a payment plan enabled. So if there's an option to do that, if you have some functionality there, that's what families are expecting moving forward. And it does increase the number of customers that you get. So a monthly payment plan, things like that are really helpful so that families aren't expected to pay for, 3 months or a year of a program all at once. And moving forward, I think in like 2027 and beyond, having payment plans, that's not going to be a nice to have. It's going to be expected. Um, and it is a conversion lever that's very easy to pull. So if you don't already have that easy way to increase the number of conversions that you have, if you're using a third party registration software, making sure that they offer that as well. And lots we do. So whatever tool you convert as well. And if you're doing your own, um, then working that out. Another area specific to us that can lift conversion is around wait lists. So not all of our programs go to wait lists every single time and kind of never know which ones are going to immediately go to a wait list. And for those that immediately go to a wait list on day one, it's like the best feeling, followed by, oh, no, wait, now I have like 10, 20 families that are just sitting on this wait list. And so how do we turn that wait list into additional opportunities for revenue and for programming and to serve more families? So having automations and whatever register wait lists. So examples of things that can help would be like wait lists that autofill with claim windows. So um, when a spot opens up, maybe one family says, oh, this date actually doesn't work for me. On your behalf, without you touching anything, autofill wait lists with rules. Maybe you want a family to be notified with an automated message and it holds their spot for 24 hours or 48 hours or however long you let them know that. So having those automations are ideal. Most programs still run waitlists manually, and that is a choice. And it's a choice for inefficiency. So it's one of the easiest areas that we can have a tool help us with. Um, yeah. And this helps so that we are not leaving efficiency and revenue on the table where we have that proven demand and people who are in line waiting to be in our programs. And for those of us who are small, independent kids enrichment businesses, please know that the research around parent dissatisfaction with registration processes cites that parents do not inherently distrust small unknown programs. They don't distrust um, small unknown registration tools or platforms. They have a documented trust um, issue with big platforms that behave badly, that use their data in ways that they didn't agree to, that market to them in ways that they didn't sign up for or agree to, that charge them hidden fees that they were never disclosed and they didn't agree to. So those things are documented in our industry as making sure that we have a clean checkout process, a visible refund policy, instant confirmation. Those things in and of themselves are enough for a small operator to earn full trust of families throughout the. And back to the wait list, another point there is we may leave money on the table. You could leave $2,300 on it. If you don't have a wait list, that is something to remedy ASAP, very quick, because you don't even know what your pent up demand is. You want to make sure that you are capturing the contact information of everyone who wants to register for your programs and cannot, so that you can offer an additional program. So that when a family drops, you can easily add in another family. But you want to make sure that you're not leaving unfulfilled, then softens demand for your programs in the future. So I think we've covered all of the easy levers that we can pull to improve our registration process with minimal lift, as well as just an audit that we can conduct for our registration process. Go through that process as a family, as a first-time family, as a recurring registration process, and just make sure to go through this checklist. So 1, make sure that your all-in price is shown on the program page itself before checkout begins and it's not revealed at the last screen. Make sure that 2, your guest checkout is the default process and that a requirement to make a profile, create a profile is not there. No forced account creation to complete your first registration. That round. 3, we want to make sure that our registration process features a mobile first design and that we are targeting that 80% mobile abandonment baseline with a checkout process that is below 2 minutes. Ideally, with our registration platform, we go sub 90 seconds. That's our North Star. But for yours, below 5 minutes, below 2 minutes, just as quickly as possible. Families can get through that process as a first-time customer from beginning registration to processing payment. And 4, we want to make sure that we have digital wallets enabled. So Apple Pay, Google Pay, and that equates to a 22% conversion lift on average. 5, we want to make sure we have a wait list enabled and that wait list has a workflow attached to it, a claim/notify workflow that fills available spots automatically and conducts lead capture for those on the wait list. And 6, we want to make sure that we have a payment plan option that guarantees we get paid without adding a bunch of additional work for us, but also provides flexibility and optionality for our families that want to participate. All right. So that's all I have for this episode. Conduct your audit. Let me know what you find. And also announcing a new weekly cadence. So previously I've posted 2 episodes a week, twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays. And to keep the quality of the podcast high while remaining consistent, we are going to once a week. So our episodes will launch Mondays of each week, and then still feature solo episodes such as this one and also guest episodes. But I am going to keep that quality high for the guest features so that there isn't that pressure to, maybe if it was every other week to have a guest. I want to have guests when there is a very clear fit and value to the audited. So that's the cadence moving forward. And thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
And that's a wrap. Know someone who needs to hear this episode? Share it, because
sharing is caring.
If this episode earned it, give us all the stars in a review on whatever platform you're listening on, because it helps other enrichment entrepreneurs find this show.
Until next time, keep learning, keep building.